All right, three, two, one, go. I'm Pat.
Hey guys, I'm Jeffrey.
William has a work thing.
Yeah, Will is a work thing.
What's his work thing?
I don't know. It's something that you can't get away from.
Cool.
Look, man, when it comes down to things, man, I really, the older I get, the more I just accept things at face value, right? I don't need to inquire. I don't need to, um, uh, there's no part of this where I need to say, like, oh, well, what kind of work thing is it, right? It's not.
Sure.
The next time I see you, I'll ask you about it in person. But as time goes by, the less and less I want to text. And when I do so, it's going to be shorter and shorter responses.
Correct.
I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just like,
It just is, man. I'm the same way.
I just want to know the
Oh my
answer
goodness,
quickly.
you and your dog are so cute.
Oh, we've known each other for a while.
Oh,
So yeah. But yeah, that's the thing is I know people spend a lot of time texting. I'd rather talk to you for 5 minutes, get all the information um and be done with it. That's me. I don't know. All right.
yeah. No, I'm on the same boat, man. So your dog is being so freaking cute, though.
She is.
Did you guys go running already, or?
I mean, we played, but I haven't taken her out. It's too early in the day. Um, we usually go 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus.
So, no, she has the whole park to herself at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
She can chase rabbits. She can.
You guys still go up to Rudy Park, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but we can't go in the other part of the field where we used to have fun, though. You know.
Well, yeah, it's filled with old folks' homes now.
Sure is.
Far fewer dirt bike trails.
Yeah, you can still go down the other side, but I mean, it's not the same. It's um, that other spot had a lot of cool trouble that you could get into. Oh, okay. I think she wants to get out.
Oh, okay. Off you go, Kinsuch. Yeah. That's okay. I love you too. Oh, sniffing my cat pants.
We all are.
You're
There you
totally full of cat fluff.
Yeah, there you go, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take a seat. Sit down. Sit. Good job, sweetheart. And you
Oh
go
my
ahead and watch
goodness,
over us.
man. Oh. So is she the content moderator?
A little bit. She's like the sound engineer.
Okay.
So, like, if we need something, I'm gonna say, like, Kinsasha, can you get me a picture of?
Yeah, can you look that up, Jamie?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, man, Twitter has been like insane last couple days.
Over what particular thing? There's a number of different insanities.
So, like the entire, like like rah, 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 over the entire ceasefire in Gaza. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what have you seen about that I've not missed or have missed?
What did you see? Is my question.
So, like, I've seen a whole bunch of the leftards, like, completely, like, I mean, it's like literally like getting over your skis on this stuff. So, or like, you ask for this and then you get this, and all of a sudden it's not enough.
Well, that's kind of par for the course, though, isn't it?
Maybe.
That's sort of the progressive model, right? Is to never.
I wouldn't even call it progressive. I mean, there's this piece of it that's just like completely out there. So,
Of course.
really?
Yeah. Well. All right. So. All right. Now you're gonna have to forgive me. I just have a little bit of a running
No,
nose.
you're
I
fine.
apologize. I have to blow my nose, but so the idea behind the progressive model, of which I used to, consider myself one until I realized how asinine it is, to not take things into deeper consideration, is to say that everything is moving in a preordained direction, right?
What do you mean by that?
So, all right. So, if you are quote unquote progressive, you are always moving this direction. Okay?
Left.
Or, however you want, whatever perspective you want to see it from.
Towards
forward.
rent control.
Yeah, well, forward towards basically, towards socialism, whatever it is that you may see it as, right? Toward space exploration, if you want to go that far, right? So it's always on a constant trajectory, and you don't stop once you hit certain goals. You say you must go further, right? It is basically, yeah.
You can't take the win.
You never, no, and you never see that as a concession, right?
Okay.
You never see that as, like, say, for example, it was popular a long time to say there's never going to be a black president, right? So you get a black president, right? Did that?
He's not black enough.
Well, it wasn't even just a black enough thing. It wasn't a thing where they say, like, well, racism isn't over, right? Just because you have a black president, it's like, well, actually, it's a huge step forward. And it's like, no, but then you take a look at it and you take a look at media reporting and you say that cases of racism, basically reporting on racism, has only skyrocketed since.
Okay, all right. So you're opening up a can of worms there that I looked into the last couple days.
Okay.
The whole Derek Chauvin thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the trial.
And the stabbing.
And the stabbing.
Yeah.
So, and the stabbing actually opened my eyes to the trial a little bit.
Your thoughts?
I didn't know that he was actually leaning on his shoulder rather than his neck. Yeah, exactly.
That's why the actual cause of death does not say that he did that. It's why it says the cause of death.
So why did the Supreme Court actually shoot down his fucking appeal?
If I were to guess,
but this is a heavily Trump right-wing based Supreme Court. What's going on here, man? I don't get it.
It's a good question. That's why I'm saying there's no straightforward answer, right? That I would have to. All right, so
because I know you watched all the shit.
I watched that in the Rittenhouse trial. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it was apparently bankrupt now, but whatever. So
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
His book just came out, actually.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be fine. So, but the Chauvin thing is really interesting to me. So I watched Ben Shapiro's his take on all that shit over the last 6 months or so, and so all of a sudden the guy gets freaking shanked in a medium security prison, quote unquote.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but I also saw that the Supreme Court shut down his first appeal. He's got another appeal in the works. So
it could be that. Look, it could be that the first appeal didn't. I didn't see. All I saw that it was denied. Right.
Right.
So I don't know if it's that it didn't pass muster. If it's something where what they appealed on is no, actually they checked all their things right here. Right. So that would be okay. But if they saw something that stands out or something like that,
so I was just curious if you actually saw anything on that because it kind of stood out to me. Yeah. I
agree.
Okay.
It's sort of a weird thing. I wouldn't have expected that, but I presume that's probably the reason, but I don't know.
Well, hopefully I don't know if there's something procedural going on there that I'm not sure about.
I would have to take what I have or what I could find, and I would have to run that in front of, say, a lawyer.
Non-townies.
Yes. Look, my general instincts, because frankly, as far as I was concerned, when I looked at the evidence and when they showed that here's the toxicology report and here's where the medical examiner has actually written.
Yeah, no, the guy was fucking flush with fentanyl.
Well, this was the thing was that they also demonstrated that this was a valid police technique. It was something that they were taught. Right. So as far as I was concerned, I was like, well, then this is this is case closed. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It says he's high as shit. This is a valid maneuver. Right. This is a person that
I didn't know the whole thing about the knee on the shoulder as opposed to the neck. So
yeah.
Well, I know you watched the entire trial. I did not. So
Well, that's the thing is why do you know it as the neck instead of the shoulder?
Well, everybody said that it was that way. So I did not go actually like follow the trial after a little bit. So the only thing that I'm curious about is like, why did the Supreme Court shoot it down?
We'll see.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
all
whatever that comes out here. Like I said, a different set of eyes than mine is going to need to parse that for me to say
Okay.
this makes sense.
All right. Well, that's fair. Yeah.
So is that the part of the Twitterverse that you saw that was erupting?
Well, no, there's multiple parts of Twitter. First, it's an ever-erupting volcano, man. So,
Well, okay, so
All right. So the couple things that I saw this like the last couple days since we talked
yes,
was like most of it's been based upon the economy because I follow a number of people who like watch this shit. Okay.
yes,
Yes. So, and like the big thing that came out a couple days ago was this Pew Research poll that were asking, individuals how much money you need to actually have in order to actually, well, how much income you need to have in order to feel like comfortable. So, and there's like a really big spike amongst people who are 35 or 30 to 40, who said they needed $500,000 in income.
well, okay, yeah, that's sort of the problem.
And so that's the rabbit hole that I went down, but it got interrupted by the Derek Chauvin thing and Elon Musk bringing up Pizzagate again. So
okay, so there's
so explain that to me because I don't get it.
what it was that pissed everybody off.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so
fill me in, man. 'Cause,
okay, so here's how
I could not actually like bring myself to bring Pizzagate up in my YouTube feed. So,
all right, just don't worry about Pizzagate here first.
Right,
Okay,
right.
that's a secondary thing, right? There's been a push here in the last about month or so, claiming that Elon Musk is anti-Semitic.
Right, and he went and talked to Benjamin
Netanyahu.
Netanyahu. Yeah, no, and I saw his interview with that. It was fine.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, so here's the thing: is before this, right? They were claiming that he was anti-Semitic, right?
Right.
And that had infiltrated his platform. Now, what happened was there's this company that you may know that you may not called Media Matters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
I'm aware.
what Media Matters did was they reported they said that, hey, advertisers, right?
Right.
Okay, your ads, and they showed it was like a Paramount Plus or something like that. They showed that this ad is showing up next to extreme anti-Semitic postings,
Right.
right? And they said that this platform supports this. So, okay, Apple,
Yeah,
Paramount,
I saw the
okay,
Apple one.
the like 12 companies, Disney's, they all pulled back on advertising, right? As a result of this. Okay, they all pulled off, right? Now, the interesting thing was there's two components to this. Is they use this as part of the anti-Semitic thing, but the other thing that they showed, and this is why Musk is actually suing Media Matters, is they said, okay, you can't actually make these things appear next to each other. You didn't Photoshop it, but here's what you did.
Right.
Okay, so you took a brand new account, okay, and what you did was you followed one person. Okay.
Okay.
You followed one person that had basically a anti-Semitic, viewpoint.
Not Musk.
Nope.
Got it.
You just picked a person, right? The person that basically said this.
So the person who followed this guy.
Correct.
Right.
And what they did was they massaged it until an ad popped up, right? And said, this is indicative of what people are seeing.
Right. Okay.
So much to the point that what Twitter said, and this is what their data is going to show, they said, okay, so we did what they did. Okay. What we can also report is no people actually saw that ad next to that tweet.
So you got monkey piled by AI.
Well, that's just so they said there's no, that ad never showed next to that tweet. And we have seen it exactly twice, right?
So what's the basis for the lawsuit?
The basis is that Media Matters presented this as Twitter.
Oh, okay.
They presented it as, to advertisers for the purpose of basically blackmailing people off the platform.
Right.
Right? So ultimately, that's the thing that in the past, couple of days here, right? That's where it turns like, all right, we'll see you in court. Because it's like, we duplicated this, what you did. This is not the platform, and you're telling people it is.
So does this suit actually have teeth behind it, or yeah, okay,
yeah, it does, because basically it's a defamation suit,
okay,
right? And as we've seen here, like saw with like the Nick Sandman, case here,
Nick Sandman.
He was the Covington kids.
Oh yeah.
Right,
okay, yeah.
Where they reported, and look, that's another Twitter storm right there. Is that kid who got at the Chiefs game?
The same thing with Kyle Rittenhouse going on right now.
Yeah. So that's the one component of that, and then the second piece where this blew up was at that meeting today. Did you see this?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so at this conference, I don't remember which conference it was, and they're showing clips from this interview, and they're talking about the advertisers that left. Without censoring, Elon Musk was like, "Go fuck yourselves." He's like, "You are trying to blackmail me into changing my behavior to what you want,
Right?
And if that's your attitude as an advertiser, go fuck yourself, right?"
Okay.
And he basically said this is everything that's wrong with he's just like, look, the platform is going to say it's a platform, and if it dies, it dies, but it's not going to be bent.
So is he basically saying it's okay if you scare out the girls?
Well,
yeah. See, I'm a little bit concerned about that.
I know what he's saying here is that the speech is the speech,
right?
Right.
But if that scares out the girls, then
they gotta go.
Yeah. Or he doesn't give a shit.
That's the thing look, there's plenty of quotes I can pull on this, but I mean, you have to support speech that you find abhorrent if you actually support free speech, right?
Right.
And so, that's basically the hill he's on right now. And he said, like, look, we have tools in place to basically curtail the reach of,
is he still okay with that, or?
He is, and people have largely become okay with it. I mean, there's a debate of, and this is fair, of who gets to determine what is hate speech, right?
Right.
And that's a fair question. That's always a question that you have to ask yourself.
Okay.
But what they've said is, look, it doesn't get yanked off the platform. It's just that we lower the visibility of it, right? That's part of the angle of...
But wasn't that what Tybee was pointing out? Like under the reign of...
Dorsey?
Dorsey, yeah.
No, well, they would straight up ban your ass.
Okay.
They made shit just straight up disappear, and they made you disappear from there, too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the...
I don't know, man, though. I mean, it's just like this little piece of it. It's like, all right, so you're still scaring the girls out of the party.
Go ahead.
Well, then it just turns into a fucking schlongfest.
Who are the girls? That's the question. Who are the
I don't
girls?
know, man. I don't know.
In this case,
So, I mean, if you kick Keith Olbermann out of the party, fine.
He left last night and came back this morning.
Correct. I saw that.
For like the 7th time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know who the girls are.
Biggest bitch holes. Well, no, the thing is, okay, so when you talk about what the core of the platform is, right? And I can't, testify to, outside of like my corner, I can say like, look, so Black Twitter has nothing to do with me, so I can't talk about that.
Sure.
There are just corners of things where like, I don't know, right?
Right.
But what I can say here is the reach of basically uncensored journalism. When I say it that way, I mean, you're not doing this through a big agency. You're not doing this through an agency.
Yeah, but this isn't Matt Walsh talking about Pizzagate. Is it?
Well, no, it had nothing to do with him. What Musk was pointing out, right, was that
okay.
the the journalists who were involved with quote unquote debunking Pizzagate both went down on child porn charges, right?
Okay.
So that's where the fallacy comes in, where it's like, okay, so you're going to hold it against the people that debunked it,
Right.
versus, the fact that it was debunked. I'm like, all right, well, take it for what it's worth. I wouldn't have gone that route. He ended up deleting the shit, but, ultimately, do I look at this and say, like, is it suspect? I don't know. What I can confirm, okay, this is what I'm talking about here, is the Department of Justice. Did you see this one? Okay. They didn't just target Trump on Twitter, right? They targeted all the accounts that he liked, followed, or retweeted his posts.
Okay.
Right? And they showed what the they talked about how this was done, and basically a super liberal judge who was actually on his last day is the one who signed off on that warrant.
Okay.
Right? So the idea that the DOJ overreached that much, right, to study this event, which more and more, look, again, this comes down to the January 6th stuff. Like, yeah, there is lots of evidence now of the cops inciting this, right? The
the actual DC police?
The police that were on scene, that were handling the area. Look.
So what were they actually told to do?
Well, this is just from the footage.
Well, yeah, but that's, observational. Like, what were they actually told to do? And who told them to do that?
I don't know. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
The footage shows that they're firing on a mob that's not mobbing.
But some of them were.
Well, and that's the thing is, you remember the window breakers?
Yeah.
Okay, those were actually Antifa guys.
Okay, fine. Arrest them and throw them in jail.
But that's what I'm saying here, is the presentation as such,
right?
With the selective information, right? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Is this was silenced by previous Twitter? This was all stuff that was information that was.
I gotcha.
Yes, right. Yeah. And the same thing goes with, how dare you investigate all the people that Trump is following, right? What exactly is the, like, again, this is where I'm not a lawyer, so I can't talk about this, but I'm like, how could you possibly have that kind of reach?
Well,
if you're investigating the president's involvement, everybody that he follows is not a suspect. What are you doing digging through all of their information? That's absurd.
Well, that goes back to the entire, 9/11 stuff and, Department of Homeland Security and blah, blah, blah. Looking for things like that. I don't know, man. See, the hard part is actually sorting out the wheat from the chaff on something like this. So there were definitely people there that did not need to be there. They're trying to instigate shit, whether they be FBI or Christian nationalists who are like linked in with the DOD and stuff like that. All those guys need to be separated from all this stuff. So some of them have been. So okay, cool. So somebody's doing their job somewhere. So but really, when it comes down to it, okay, fine. So at what point in time does this become political speech as opposed to it's like inciting violence? I don't know. So that needs to be sorted out in the courts. So that's the purpose of the courts. So,
right, that is the purpose of the courts. Yes, I would agree with you on that. The question is whether or not they were afforded the ability to look at the data, to look at the actual, and to my understanding, they weren't.
Well, depends on the case, but yeah. So yeah. So there's like a whole bunch of like weird jurisdiction rules over that. So that
I could okay, yeah.
I don't really get all those, and I can't speak towards them. So in some respects, all I can say is like I don't care if you're like involved with the FBI as part of a plant, or if you're a fucking Christian nationalist. If you throw a couch through that window there, you need to go to jail. So
I agree. Look, all right.
Yeah, no, you don't do that.
No.
So you're right.
No, and likewise, that's the thing is you don't, as an FBI agent, as far as I'm concerned here, right?
You should not be allowed to instigate that.
Well, that's correct. And so if
you're a dumbass who picks up a couch,
along,
yeah, you get to go to jail too, buddy. So
you know what? But okay, I get it.
You're not a rube, man. You know that that's not supposed to happen.
Totally understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But sentencing, and to my knowledge, the sentencing all happened without the full footage available.
Okay.
And that is completely unfair.
Punching through appeal. I get it.
So I mean, the fact that it's still presented this way is absurd.
Well, it just goes back to the media. So I get that. So but I don't know, man. I don't care how I feel about politics and stuff like that. I'm not going to throw a couch through a fucking window. So, and if you get riled up to that point in time, I mean, come on, man. You got to know where to, like, okay, no. I shouldn't do this.
Look, man.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let me say it this way. All right, so if you're already there and you're already upset, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you're
go
there.
Drink a beer and just chill out a little bit.
Oh, no, I understand. But this is the same reason that you as a person cannot openly incite violence out there in public. You'll be punished for that.
Absolutely.
That's illegal, right?
Yes.
And if it's your own government calling for that, that is messed up.
Yeah, I'm just at the point in time where you should dish out punishments all around. So, I don't know, man. So,
is it a sticky wicket? Yes, of course it
it's
is.
totally a sticky wicket.
Right?
Yeah,
now,
but really when it comes down to it, man, fucking do it civilly. If you can't do it civilly, that doesn't give you a license to resort to violence. So,
but look, this is that's the thing is that has to apply across the board.
Correct. Yes. Yes, absolutely. And are there elements of the FBI or the Homeland Security, blah, 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 those guys should be punished? Yes, absolutely. And I think they are being. So on a certain level.
Look, let me just say it this way, this evening, right now, there are fucking Palestinian protesters fucking up the Christmas lighting tree in New York right now.
Yeah, those guys should be punished.
That's what I'm saying is...
No, I get it. Yeah.
Okay, this goes back to the George Floyd riots, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you let it go, and they did let it go for weeks, right? They just let it happen.
Yeah.
Now, here's
doesn't mean there's not consequences associated with that. So
that doesn't. Yeah, but that's the thing, bro. Is if you're going to say like, okay, we absolutely cannot tolerate any of this happening on our capital, right?
Should do it across the board.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The second you turn violent, as far as I'm concerned, they fucking gas you. Right. This is
okay.
You're talking to me here.
No.
Right?
We're on the same page, man. We're on the same page. If you're gonna break a window, you need to get gassed. So yeah. No,
and that's the thing is if
it's your FBI that's actually instigating that, those guys need to actually be punished.
Whoever it is that gave you your orders is the one that.
But still, at the same point in time, I'm not going to let people off the hook who are like, "Oh, the FBI's fucking do it, so I can fucking do it." Of course
not.
Yeah, no.
But that also means that, man, the people that were involved, like, there's no way they should have let those riots go on as long as they did.
Yes.
There's no way that those people should have gotten loose on the punishments that they got because it was minimal. People barely got. I mean, there were people who were out and back on the street, doing it again the next fucking day.
No, they should be punished.
So I'm gonna sit there and look at these people who are fucking pissed off, right? They didn't, instigate this thing, right? And now they're taking the nastiest punishments with, terror enhancements put on this. Like, this is fucking absurd.
Yeah, so that's I agree.
This is a two-tiered system. This is stupid.
I get you on that one. That's complete bullshit. It's entirely appeal bait. So yeah, no, but we don't know, man. So we got to be cool. We got to be ready for the next election. So because you're gonna see some of this stuff come up again. I actually watched a podcast with Karl Rove, of all people, the other day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So I was just like, hey, man, we can do anything before the next election. We have to litigate that before that actually happens.
yes.
And that was a really, really insightful thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. So, we're just going to have to see how it goes.
No, I totally understand. You know, and that's the tough part right now is, you know, obviously I don't stand for violence, you know, either way. Unless, look, I'll say this, okay, when it comes to, you know, those pieces of paper that we have in Washington, all right. So if it's on, it's on. Okay? If
What does that mean?
if the time has come that we need to, what is it, spill the blood, the
Water the tree of liberty with blood?
okay, if the
I
time
don't
has
think
come,
we're there, man.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
but if it's
okay.
on, then it's on, and we're doing this. If it's just, frankly, as
It
far as I'm
won't be
concerned, there's
like-
way more people that are just fucking troublemakers than there were actual people doing violence for the
It's your
sake of
fucking
hurt
laptop
feelings.
class, man. Yeah. Totally is.
Well, they weren't the ones out there. They were the ones, basically.
Oh, no, they were the ones out there.
well, not the majority.
No, they were, man. These are your small business owners who have fucking like real estate empires and shit like that, who could actually like fly there that weekend and actually show up to that thing. So these were not like your fucking union guys who are.
Wait, are you talking about January 6th? Or
Yeah, I'm talking
okay. I
about
thought you were-
January
I
6th.
thought you were talking about.
No, these are fucking activists who like
Oh,
you
yeah.
know like actually have the time, money, and resources to actually go there that
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
Most people didn't give two fucks about it, so they're like, it's just another weekend, bro. So you know, I got to be at work on Monday. So this is not your working class rising up there to go over to January 6th and actually like
No.
no. These were realtors. They were fucking, you know, insurance salesmen. These are people who feel jacked on their taxes and stuff like that who could actually afford the weekend to go up there. You know, no. This is
I thought you were talking about the Floyd protests. It was like, I don't know if they were all laptop class. It was,
they were decidedly not.
yeah.
So
They
these
were out there, but not.
well, they
not
were, but they were
enforced.
the ones ginning up the thing.
Fucking.
Yeah, exactly. It was everybody else is like, oh, yeah, no, I got Saturday off. Let's go. You know, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
still argue.
these weren't
that-
people who booked Saturday off. They were just ones who had Saturday off.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got you on that.
I still argue the majority of those people are just fucking troublemakers and just not like actually
Correct.
politically pissed off.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's just bored nerds.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, exactly. So, you know, like these are fucking like college kids who didn't have midterms that weekend. If it happened on like in the middle of like fucking March, the week before
Yeah.
spring break, it wouldn't have happened. So, you know, I get you
Mhm.
on that one, man. So, but yeah, no, these are people who are like way too invested in like politics on a national level. So, when really what they should be doing is protesting fucking school board meetings. So, but
Yep.
oh my God, it's not that important. So, let me go to Washington this weekend because they get an extra $1,000 to burn. So, yeah, exactly. Okay,
I
fine.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally understand. Yeah, this is just. And yes, I also understand that the difficulty is that the enforcement of these sort of things is going to differ from state to state, district to district. Where
See,
DC
and that's
gets crazy.
weird, man.
right?
That's totally weird. So that is not something I expected to come from this. You know, I mean, if if it all had to be prosecuted in D.C., so whereas you have like local attorneys general and stuff like that, it's like, oh, we got a guy who was there. You know, let me dunk some points on this dude. Yeah. So, but I mean, federal crime, I guess. I don't know how that works. I have to actually ask a non-townie. You know,
That's a tough question, man.
Yeah.
Dude, you had people actually storming the building over there from Talib's camp.
Correct.
Where are they?
I did no idea, man. So yeah, no, it's yeah. That
Either
was
it's a
weird
big
too.
deal or it's not a big
Yeah.
deal. There's been so many times when people have gone into that building and squatted there, right, as
Mm-hmm.
part of the protest. I'm like, so what's the difference? Is it
Correct. Yeah. Well, I mean, going back to J6, man, it's like, what part of the building were you in? Were you part with the, smashing barriers, or you were the part where the cops let you in and let you tour around? So it's a big building, man. So
It is a big building, and again, that for me, if you're going to define it as an insurrection, you have to see it as whether or not there was going to be an attempt to change the government, which absolutely doesn't stand up to any kind of scrutiny.
oh no,
There's no
especially in
fucking
any
way.
kind of like historical sense, man.
No,
It was basically a mob, so it was no insurrection.
it's just
Anybody
a
who
bunch
calls
of
it
pissed
that,
off dumbasses. No, it is because.
hey, get the weekend free. Let's go storm the Capitol.
Well,
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that, man. So the thing about it that's like interesting is like depending on where you stand and what kind of instrumentalist kind of like outcome you want.
yeah.
Yeah, you can spin it either way. So
Well, the other thing I looked at here,
and you can't do it from an objective standpoint unless you don't give a shit what happens to the people who actually did it. So
all right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, I can say that, yeah. All right, but the other thing I looked at here, from what you were talking about, because we kept going back and forward on like, here's what the boys at the yacht club see. You were
Sure.
pointing out the thing about travel and stuff. I'm like, all right, why am I getting mixed signals on this, right? So I did.
So I'm curious about this.
All right, so this came from CBS, right? And if this wasn't, if this wasn't some old bullshit or whatever, right? They can't be trusted on everything. But this is their newest report says that compared to January 2021,
Okay.
right? So we all know when that is. That's transition of power, right?
2021.
Yeah,
Oh, when Biden took
Yeah.
over. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So the typical American household must spend an additional $11,434 annually to maintain the same standard of living they enjoyed in January 2021.
Okay.
So the
Off what basis, though?
what do you mean?
All right. So if you're spending $11,000 more than the previous year, how much were you making the previous year?
Well, it's to maintain the same standard of living.
$11,000 more a year?
Yes,
That's crazy.
annually to maintain the same standard of living they enjoyed in January of 2021.
I don't buy that. So yeah, no, I got you on that one, man. But like, if you're talking about median income where you're $50,000 one year and you have to spend $61,000 the next year just based upon a single year, I don't buy that. So
Well, that's a few years ago, but yes.
yeah, I'm sorry, man. That seems a little sus.
This is CBS, man. I didn't pull it up
So you're
from.
gonna actually pull up like to the point in time where like you're spending 20% more of your income on the same thing that you were last year?
That's
I don't buy that.
Okay.
I don't buy that.
Now
at all.
the reason I looked at this was because that actually confirms some of the data that I was looking at before. I have the chart somewhere else, but basically it shows the breakdown of what is more expensive, right?
Well, obviously it's rent. So
Well, that's one, but basically a lot of things like electricity and gas and all these other things.
yeah, I don't buy that. Yeah, no. Okay, so let me.
Dude, I know that you don't buy it, but I'm just telling you that this is when I looked into it. This is what the data was showing,
Sure. Okay.
right? Now you're saying that you don't buy it, so if you want to look into that and pull it up, that's okay. But I didn't do the report,
Well, okay, fair. Yeah. No, I mean,
so I can't argue methods or anything like that with you. I'm just telling you the conclusions from what they were.
methods are tricky, and so the thing is like if you look at Fred is great. So Fred is the Federal Reserve Economic Database. So, and if you
Okay.
actually look at like individual like amounts that people spend, year over year on like there's a core basket of stuff that people buy every single year. This is like energy,
Oh yeah.
fucking food, gas, all that stuff. I mean, it's down. So, the question is like, all right, so who's actually putting together this bowl? So, I mean, if you actually had a 20% increase from one year to the next, people would be fucking marching in the streets, and we just don't see that.
Well,
So
We do, but not for the reason that you're thinking. The question is, are the marches, or basically the discontent, right? So if I were to sit there and say, okay, let's take George Floyd, for example, right?
okay,
Okay. So you take an incident that on its surface, right, is presented in a certain way,
sure,
right? And people use this to capitalize on an existing thread of discontent, right?
uh-huh.
Okay. Now, taken in isolation, people aren't marching on this, right?
Right, but they are in individual areas.
Well, you could sit there and say like Ferguson and
Well, that was fucking back in 2015, man.
I understand. But
Right.
that's what I'm saying is you're talking about it's the culmination of what is presented in a certain way that already had an underlying anger to it, right? So
Sure.
it's not just the incident itself that caused the nation to riot. It's the suggestion that all of these things, right? Okay. So when you're talking about, movements where people are getting angry, who exactly do you go to when you say that these prices are up? So again, this is what I'm saying here. So like you're talking about jobs and stuff, right?
Sure.
So this is where they broke it down and said, okay, so average hourly pay for workers has increased 13.6% since January 2021.
Aggregate over the course of the nation.
That's what it's saying. Average hourly pay for
okay.
workers. Okay. That's good. But that's where it's saying it lags behind the 17% increase in inflation during the same period, according to government data. The main categories require heavier spending for consumers to tread water: food, transportation, housing, and energy.
See, that makes sense.
Which together account for almost 80 cents of every $1 in additional spending.
Right.
So it's these things here, food, transportation, housing, and energy, that are 80 cents of every dollar of additional. So these things are certifiably higher, right?
In aggregate.
Right.
Right.
So of that $11,000, like 8,500 is these things: food, transportation, housing, and energy.
Yeah, but food, transportation, housing, and energy are all like money that's spent locally. It's not spent overseas.
Who said it was overseas?
Well, no, nobody does. So, but that's the point. Is that explains not only your rise in like fucking local wages and stuff like that. I mean, I guess my argument over the entire course of the last like year and a half, is like, all right, fine, we're still spending the same amount for a flat screen TV because it comes from fucking China. Okay, but I think you should spend another dollar or two a gallon of milk or energy because it comes from the United States. So,
Okay,
and that's money that's actually spent here. Okay, so that's not money that's spent in Mexico. That's not money that's spent in China.
Right.
So that's good. All right. So I don't have any problems with spending extra money on food. I mean, housing is a little bit different, but I mean, even like your major corporations who, are buying up all kinds of like fucking rental properties and stuff like that, they can't do it anymore because there's no like 0% financing
Right.
anymore.
Right.
So, okay.
If they do it, they have to do it with cash, and then you might as well.
They have to do it
invest
in
something
scale.
else. Yeah.
They have to do it in scale.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what that means is that if you're a local homeowner, you're going to get more money for your house. All right. If you are a local employer, you're going to have to spend more money on your employees. But at the same point in time, you're going to get more revenue from your customers. So, I mean, we're going back to the 1950s economy where everything's local. It's fucking great, man. I mean, I don't care if I have to spend $5 a gallon on milk. If it means that, like, okay, really fundamentally, it means that makes our economy stronger in the long run. So
I guess that's the question is I mean, I can't say it for extreme certainty. I can't say, if I were to, put my predictor hat on, it's like I got one thing right, and it was COVID. But
you totally did. You nailed it.
I mean,
how do you think about this like a fucking thing that's going on around in China right now with kids and like respiratory viruses?
Yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to say.
I think it's due to carbon emissions, but we'll see.
I don't think those help.
Right. Yeah.
I think there may be an underlying.
So, but anyway,
problem,
to go back to my point, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no problem with rising prices on certain things. See, like everybody wants two things. All right, so they want lower prices on goods and they want higher prices on wages. That is fucking mathematically impossible.
Sure.
That does not work.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
if it does not work, then let's have higher prices locally and higher wages locally, because that's much more fucking slop in the trough for us here locally.
Right.
Okay? I have no
I can
problem
see
with
that.
that.
Yeah. Sure.
And so, but like, here's, and I did some looking into this since the last time we talked. All right? So if you dive into the polls, and if you deeply dive into the polls, and there's only a few polls that, you know, are not like so sensational that they get put on fucking Yahoo News or Twitter and stuff like that. So you go to Pew, you go to New York Times is great on this stuff. All right. So yes, I get it. They're, you know, completely bought out by the left side of things. But there's
but it's a metric. It's a.
Their statisticians are not. All right. So when they do polls, their polls are pretty solid. All right. So the people who are hurting in the U.S. economy right now are people who are in urban environments. They're in their 30s. They're trying to buy a fucking house in San Francisco. Okay? You can't fucking do that right now. All right? So, because you have an older generation who's hanging on to their property, you have a younger generation who's completely fucking give up. You know? And they're like, okay, how can I make money online? So, I'm more concerned about wages than I am about, you know, housing prices and stuff like that. And so you have a very large group of people who are very unhappy with the economy right now. All right. So
And the most vocal.
Young people always bitch about the economy. You can go back to when we were in our 20s. People in our 20s at that point in time, they bitch about the economy. You can go back 20 years before when our parents were in their 20s and they bitch about the economy. So that's consistent. All right. So it's constant, not a variable.
You know what's interesting?
Huh?
I have never, in all the time that I've spent, you know, on this planet, and especially when I got to like working age and stuff. So I think you would agree that the metrics, or not the metrics, but the data has showed over time that the job market has blossomed and it's decreased, right? You know, over time, right? What's interesting is, ever since I entered the workforce, and probably before, I have only heard people say, it's tough for people in this economy. I have never heard someone say, like,
it's great.
It's rocking right now.
Wonderful.
Economy, right? Anytime that somebody's, you know, talking about, like, they've been looking for a job, it's like, it's hard to find a job in this economy.
Yeah.
And it has been so since 1995? You know, this
1965. Yeah.
I just said, I've never heard people turn it around. I've never heard people say.
Yeah. And so right now you have a very large generation, all right, who are in their 30s and are trying to buy houses in metropolitan urban areas because that's where the fucking jobs are.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so if I go to a metropolitan urban area where I need $120,000 to keep afloat, but my mortgage is costing me $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month, that's what I'm going to bitch about.
Yeah.
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 That's constant, not a variable. So, and so if you look across the entire board of the economy, so here's the thing that I see. All right. So now I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. I don't like him ethically.
You used to be cool, but things have changed.
I like his policies. I think he's doing a good job on a lot of policies, or maybe the people who work for him are, whatever. All right. So, I mean, like, give me Gaza and Israel at this point in time. So they're chilling out right now, and that's all due to the U.S. State Department.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
It could be.
If it is, that's cool.
It could be completely going off the rails. All right, but we're telling Israel right now. No, we're not going to send you any more 155 millimeter shells unless you like listen to this ceasefire and adhere to it for another day. Maybe we'll send you more tomorrow. But do this.
Go talk to them and see what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Ukraine right now. I mean, Russia's on the brink of bankruptcy, and we're throwing them a lifeline on some of these things. All right. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it seems to be working because there's not nuclear missiles flying. Okay. So, all right. So that's a dispositive hypothesis, but it seems to be working.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So, but there's a lot of people who, see that there's election coming up. All right. So everybody on the right hand side of things who have amazing economies in fucking Florida and Texas, like, it's terrible. Get rid of this guy. Okay, fine. All right. So that's constant, not a variable.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, but there's a bunch of people on the left coast and the right coast out there who are like, this guy's fucking awful, and, because we don't get rent control.
Fair enough.
And so they're throwing rocks at him too. So there's a lot of noise out there right now of people who are saying the economy's fucking awful. Okay? And it's coming from both sides of the fence. One of them is totally predictable. The other one is not. Okay?
Okay.
And so,
Okay.
but really when it comes down to it, people have a lot of opportunity. They have a lot of chances out there to actually plug into the market and do so in a chance they will not have, in a different economy. You could not do this in 2010. So you could not plug into an economy like this and actually get your feet underneath you. What you have is a bunch of leftards out there right now who want to live in dense urban centers, which are completely controlled by local politics, who say, no, we're not going to build no more single family homes.
Right.
In this area.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you have to live with what you get. And so local landlords are soaking all their fucking salaries out of them, which if I was a local landlord, I'd totally fucking do that.
Well, there's this much to go around. This is meant for
Correct.
many people that want them.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, but you don't hear people in Texas and Florida bitching about that.
Actually, you do. Texas has started to have a little mini revolution on that.
Well, they get a lot of California imports, but still at the same point in time, they build more suburbs to soak them in. So that's not something you can do in New York. It's not something you can do in San Francisco. So, yeah, absolutely. So
Or Boulder, or
Boulder, or even Denver.
Yeah.
So Denver's got more 30-something unemployed people than just about any fucking major city in the United States. And so you hear all this and stuff. It's well, you can move down here. I'm not going to do that.
How about Castle Rock? How about...
Yeah, exactly. And so just looking at it objectively, so Joe Biden's not going to be our next president. I get that. Okay. So, but whoever is our next president might be Donald Trump, might not be. Who knows?
I have no idea.
Might be Ron DeSantis. That'd be great. Okay. But whoever that is, they're going to inherit an amazing economy, which is going to set them up for not only 4 years, but 8 years. Okay. Because really, when it comes down to it, energy prices down. Okay, so manufacturing up, those are good jobs. They're going to be spread throughout the entire country, not just concentrated in urban centers. And really, it's you guys just don't like the vibes of the economy right now because you don't like the guy who's actually in charge. So, but he's not actually in charge. It's been set up for almost a decade now. And then the real fundamental thing that most people don't realize that's actually coming down the pipe is that fucking financial fuckery is done. So without 0% financing, financial fuckery is over. So that entire era of Bush and Obama, it's donezo. And so we're getting back to actually can you actually create value in the economy now? And there's going to be a fuckload of people who can actually figure that out in the next couple of years. So,
right, where if at that point where you basically can't borrow at zero,
correct,
and loan it,
that's
whatever,
donezo, bro.
Because that's
donezo.
Completely artificially inflating it. But what I can say is, and again, I have no reason not to accept the data at face value. All right, I can say that based on what they're showing here and the numbers they're looking at, yeah, it does cost more, about 11.5. And
absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. But I'm arguing that's a good thing. I am arguing that's a good thing because that's money that's spent at home.
I get it, but it has to get back to the hands of the people that are spending it.
It will. So it's just wages always follow prices. It'll take a little bit. So, like, if you want to look at the fastest growing parts of the economy and the jobs that are actually paying the best right now, it's not like going into, fucking finance. It's going into, like, I'm going to be a machinist.
Yeah, no, I gotcha.
Yeah,
I
so
gotcha.
we are literally going back to the economy of the 1950s. It's going to be amazing. So, and whoever's president next time is actually going to ride that wave. So, whoever it is. So, I mean,
So this ultimately is sort of a half argument against globalization.
absolutely it's an argument against globalization. Globalization was bullshit. So, I mean, as like much of a neoliberal that I am on certain levels, but really when it comes down to it, okay, so globalization means that like value will always like roll downhill. Okay. So, but when it comes down to it, all right, so that runs into this like hard like dam of like, do you protect your country? So, and we have learned a lesson on that one over the last like 5, 6 years. It was like, well, especially with COVID and like, oh God, nobody can get masks because they're all made in fucking China and they can
Yeah.
like shut that off immediately. Everybody's like, oh, well, fuck that, we can make the shit out of those. So, but at the same point in time, um, I mean, okay, so it's still a dog eat dog world. Okay, so it's not everybody's cool, and we're not gonna like build the navy that actually protects all the seas over the face of the planet. Okay, because really, why should we?
Well, what you're asking basically is why should we be protecting shipping lanes that we're not using? All right, but
Why should we be protecting another country's like industries when we have people here that are hurting? This is the thing that Donald Trump got right. So he was like, we don't win anymore. And he was
he's right.
totally
He's
fucking
totally
right about that.
Yeah.
You know? It was like, well, if we're the guys who are doing all this, we should see some benefit from this, and we weren't. So, and he got that right. And everybody's wise to it now, especially after COVID. So,
Well, okay, so I mean, the flip side, I can argue, and again, you've seen the graph, you know how this goes, right?
Sure.
Where it comes to, all right, more people were lifted out of poverty during the globalization era, than any other time, right? This is true worldwide.
why should I be spending extra dollars on something to actually lift a guy out of poverty in China?
This is a great question. And
Correct. Especially when we can't even protect our own border. Yes. And so
well, okay.
Donald Trump has all these
don't.
things right. Yeah, exactly. So, and oh my God, I did some reading to that, and it has nothing to do with walls. It has everything to do with the law. So, yeah, no, you were totally right on that one too. It's like, wait a minute, we can't send these guys back if they, yeah, okay, this is fucked up. Mm-hmm. So just fix this law and it's donezo in an afternoon. So,
right. That's why I go, exactly. It's like we have
right.
what's on the books to actually enforce this.
Correct.
We don't.
Yeah, you're right.
We don't. So
you're totally right about that.
All right. So if we're not going to go that way, just allow the drones to drop grenades. It's fine. It'll handle the problem.
Just seen 1,000, 1 billion landmines. No, man, I'm not a fan of non-due process, but
you've said that.
I don't want that kind of country that has like fucking machine gun turrets.
Then just go to the checkpoint. Just go to the checkpoint.
Go to the checkpoint.
That's it.
Yeah,
go to the checkpoint. If you don't want to get blown up,
fine. You're fine. Yeah.
The sign is in like 5 languages. Yeah.
Even put it in Chinese now, man.
Correct.
So yeah.
Correct. That tells you all that you need to know about this situation, man.
Yeah. You're right.
That's the shit that people don't.
It's just a little change in the law. So, because there was a good poll that came out, and it's like most people aren't pissed about the fact that people are coming in. It's about the fact that they're coming in illegally.
Yes.
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 And so follow the rules. We're a very rules-based society. Do what you're supposed to do. Fucking put on your turn signal, motherfucker.
Look, man, it's signals. Look, it goes back. All right, it goes back to before this country was a thing. Okay, and this is the one thing that's pervaded is United States, very simple. If you don't work, then you don't eat, right? And
Correct.
It's with some exception, because again, this is where that Christian charity thing came in, right? Even though it's not the law or anything, it was just unless you can't. And
Right,
then
yeah.
it's the community's job to take care of you.
And we will. If
Always
you're
have.
here illegally.
Correct. And that's the problem is, as people in New York are finding out, and man, are they regretting all
God
that.
damn, that law is fucked up. So that is so fucked up.
Every
man.
single day when Eric Adams has to say, okay, so actually we have to chop out 10% of our police force to keep paying for this, because this ain't stopping.
No, it's not. It's just it's a ratchet effect, and it's got the boiler pressure going on there.
You're
man.
going to go down to
He's gonna
trash
break.
the other day. You're going to go down to, I mean, it's not, that one is not his fault.
It's not. Yeah, no.
Now, it is his fault for when he jumped in, okay, and he, before any of this happened, he was on record saying, like, hey, you don't want them, we got space for you here. This is the America I believe.
Yeah, that was his bad.
Now, see, he should have deleted that tweet back in, like, 2017 or some shit. But that's something that he had on this record, and now he's kind of flipping this around to say, like, in hindsight...
Right, yeah.
Which is the problem, right? So it's they are deeply regretting that, but at least it actually shines a light on the problem. Chicago's in just as bad a straits. They're in
Chicago's fucked, man. I saw a couple things about that this week, where it's basically turning into the Midwest wasteland now. Because all the other cities, they can't take anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I saw that. That's too bad. I mean, but it's in Illinois. So, they have a little bit of hope there. So, the problem with New York is it's controlled by the countryside. So, yeah. It's going to be completely different, man. I don't know, man. So, but seeing, like, all the people, like, there were a couple studies on this, like, how many people are immigrating into Texas and Florida. Is like making them much, much, much stronger. So in terms of like dictating national policy. So yeah. Like California actually lost like seats. So finally, and people are like, wait a minute, the I-10 is fucked up. Fuck this. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a rough one. California is just, I mean, like,
oh man, I saw this really like
what?
sneaky, like complete inside baseball political podcast the other day about what Gavin Newsom is doing.
Oh, what's this?
So the hypothesis is that he's pretty sure that Joe Biden's actually going to lose at the convention.
Oh.
And so he has been appointing electors from California over the last, 6 months. Okay? So, and that's why he's going to go to this, fucking debate with Ron DeSantis so he can start picking up electors from other states. So to actually, put on a full-blown 1968 kind of, fucking insurrection.
You can see some riots with that, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, man. That's really kind of out there conspiracy baseball kind of stuff, but
it's certainly within the realm of possibility.
It definitely, and
he's greasy enough to do it.
He is totally that greasy, man. So yeah, and so he's just playing the complete inside game, and so he wants to pick up electors from multiple large states like Maryland and Oregon, Washington, stuff like that to actually and that's not till August.
The only question is if he gets found out, in between then, if there's...
I don't think that he's being that subtle about it.
Really?
Yeah. So...
I mean, it does make sense in the idea of, so why did Xi Jinping come to California?
I don't know if that had anything to do with Gavin Newsom.
No, but why would he come there? Why? That's the question. Is why, of all places, why not D.C.? Why not? This is the weird thing is not necessarily that there's anything dirty, but in terms of people that could be talking about things, then I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, so honestly, I've got a little bit more faith in Biden's State Department than I did maybe like 3, 4 months ago. So, they've done a pretty good job of actually tamping down Israel on this.
Well, do you mean in terms of like cool it?
Yeah, cool it. Otherwise, we're not going to see any more 155 millimeter shells. Just be cool. So,
God, that's tough because I don't know, man. My patience for this is so done in terms of like if I were Israeli, it's just like
bro, if I was Benjamin Netanyahu, I'd rubble it and bulldoze the rubble in the sea.
that's kind of yeah, it's just
yeah,
kind of
but
like it,
I mean, but that's my like October 2011 or 2001 brain speaking, on this one, and I remember that. So, but I mean, they've done a pretty good job. I mean, they're going to try and extend the ceasefire a little
Yeah.
bit. He's done a pretty good job of actually sending like piecemeal stuff to Ukraine too. Without actually escalating that, which a lot of people would disagree with, but I would just point to them to the results. So on this,
I
I mean, it's pretty much baked in. There's a lot of talk right now about like, hey man, peace before Christmas kind of thing. And you're talking about two like fairly like Orthodox Christian nations. I mean, maybe we could actually get that punched in. I don't know, man. But it's clearly obvious that Ukrainians are not going to push to Moscow, and the Russians aren't going to push to Kyiv. So
Right.
yeah. And so, what are we fighting over? Why are we like goring ourselves on this barbed wire fence anymore? I don't know. We'll see. And I mean, I think the Biden administration, or at least their foreign, like, well, at least the State Department deserves a little bit of credit for that. Without like it going completely bananas. So,
I have no idea. I don't. Again, this is something that I misjudged from day one, then week 1, then week 25.
right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my
No, me too.
presumptions on this are so all over the board in terms of so if I say
Yeah, but if you play a season long enough, you kind of see where it's going. So
you do, but ultimately therein lies the question of so whatever it is that you guys concede to eventually, because you will, right?
they'll have to.
Yeah, because at this point there's no winning for either side, right?
Oh man, they're throwing 50-year-old men on the front lines on both sides. So
Therein lies the question of all right, so what did you accomplish minus all of the money that you spent and all the lives that you buried, right? And that's the part that I'm going to struggle with here is ultimately what did you want and what did you set out to accomplish and how are you going to spin this? Because ultimately, like, I don't know what's going to happen to that region, right? The
it's going to be North and South Korea, man. So
and this is a weird thing,
yeah,
right?
it's gonna be
Geopolitically, it's
yeah.
a bizarre thing.
Yeah. So I mean, so this guy that I follow, he's great. So he's like, Ukraine's going to be a rump state. So whether or not it gets pulled into the EU or NATO is irrelevant because it's basically like wrecked. So, but at the same point in time, it's like it's Russia's last gasp. So they're not going to go after like the Balkan states at this point in time. They can't do it. So Poland is too fucking strong.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
they bought a shitload of stuff from South Korea. All kinds of nice shiny
Yeah.
like war toys.
Yeah,
They'd be more than happy to use against somebody else. But,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, but still at the same point in time, I mean, it's like if Putin can turn around and say like, okay, so like, all right, so I'm not like Tsar Nicholas V, all right, so but I got Crimea back, so
Right.
yeah, okay, fine, I can peel off and live in my dacha and stuff like that and call it good, and pass this fucking train wreck of a state onto somebody else someday. It's not my problem anymore. So I mean, he doesn't have any sons. He's got daughters, so he don't give a shit. So as long as like he doesn't wind up in like some kind of Nuremberg thing, he's not. That's not going to happen. So
No, we don't do that. That's not.
Huh. No,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. He's not dumb enough to fly to Paris, you know, so he gets it. But then the thing is, like, by poking this stick, like, he actually, like, galvanized Europe. I mean, if you look at Europe now, where it was, like, 5 years ago, where it was all full of, like, fucking socialist lefties who let everybody in. No, 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 no.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Germany and
that's
France are not going to do that, and that's like 80% of Europe now. So
yeah,
you know,
that's the thing is Europe is taking a hard slide to the right, and a lot of that has to.
is you know
Well, and I know what the thing is. It's more migration based than anything else.
totally. So,
Yeah.
but still, at the same point in time, I mean, they can see like Russia as being like a completely different ethnicity at this point in time
Yeah,
because they were
they absolutely
fighting.
do.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. And so even if like, all right, so Ukraine doesn't get into NATO, maybe it gets into the EU. I mean, so the really funny thing is, like, Zelensky can trip over stairs tomorrow and die, and he gets replaced by a guy who's just like him. So, if Putin trips over the stairs tomorrow and dies, that's different.
I don't know. See,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's been a purging of people that don't fully support his ideas or anything. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, it's a little bit out of my like how I can see things going.
Yeah, what I saw in this.
So,
was-
but it's
yeah.
definitely different than it was a year and a half ago.
Absolutely, yeah, and
Definitely.
you're right about saying things as different people. This was something that I did ask about. I was like,
Oh, your student?
yeah, I was like,
What did
don't
you say? I'm curious.
Well, I was like, well, it doesn't seem like you have like that much ethnic diversity. And she's like, you're crazy. Like, what do you mean?
Right? Yeah, yeah.
I was like, well, y'all look like white people to me. As a matter of fact, that's where actually a lot of the like Caucasian part comes from, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And she's like, no, no, no. It's as diverse as the United States is, but
Right.
within different shades of like white, and that's how they see it, right? In the same ways that the Japanese look at those mutants from Hokkaido, with the red hair, and they're like, oh boy, you're Japanese, but you sure aren't. It's like, but you know what? At least you're not a foreigner. So.
Right.
We don't like you, but we really don't like them. As a matter of fact, shit, of all things, today there was a Japanese anti-foreigner protest march.
In Japan?
Yes.
What kind of foreigners?
Well, it was all of them.
Okay, this sounds very Japanese.
It was, yeah, and I was like, what are you complaining about? Your society is so homogeneous, right? That what is this incursion that you're seeing that is so dangerous? I'm like,
Yeah, but Tokyo's different, man. So Tokyo is actually like kind of like London, but cleaner. So not full of as many dissidents.
there's no way they're citizens, though.
No, they're not.
They would have to be workers, and they would
You're
have
right,
to be
yeah,
basically
that's totally different.
they have the right to
Yeah.
pull them at any time.
Yeah, no, you're totally right about that. I don't know, man. I mean, the xenophobia kind of stuff that's going on across the world right now is a little bit scary. So, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Ireland's reaction to that was
Ireland
terrifying.
is weird, man.
You guys are fucked up.
Dude, I did some looking into that, and you're totally right. Their entire like fucking parliament and their prime minister it's like wait, whoa, yeah, no. So you guys are like, you guys are turning into the fucking San Francisco of the America here.
It's terrifying.
Yeah,
yeah.
And it's like you're taking that in an entirely wrong direction. So, but I mean, it's still at the same point, yeah, it was a small nation. There's only like, what, 30 million people there. And so they can flip over their government pretty quickly.
They can.
So, which is different than England. So,
England is well. It's funny.
London
because-
is weird, man. So I've been seeing a couple things on what's going on in London lately, and it's like it's bifurcating quite a bit. Yeah, and it's kind of scary, man, because you don't see that in New York. So I mean, all right, fine, we'll tolerate our blue guys and stuff like that, but not as long as these people aren't fucking marching our streets. We're gonna go out there and beat the shit out of them. So it's different.
clarify. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, there's been all these like Twitter posts and TikTok videos of your basic like blue collar New York guys who like, hey, fucking don't touch that. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So a little bit of maybe a little bit of old New York.
Very old New York
Yeah.
is still there.
Classic
New York. It doesn't seem like classic Dublin is still a thing. So yeah.
Here's the wacky thing. This is where their parliament fucking like I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And this is another thing where like I have to look at this in the lens of years from now in terms of who did what and who are the actual heroes here. All right. So Ireland dubbed Irish Lives Matter as hate speech.
Really?
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. They're investigating Conor McGregor.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
I saw
because
that.
he was like, what the fuck? Right?
Well, to be fair, that guy is a bit of a lunatic.
He is a lunatic, but he didn't say anything that was off.
Right, okay.
Like, being a lunatic doesn't give you, like, license to be, investigated.
It's just like it affords you a little bit more scrutiny.
But, yeah, this was the thing is, yeah, they started digging into people's social media shit.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing was Ireland reached out to Instagram and all the rest of these guys.
Google, I saw that.
The only one that said, go fuck yourself
was Twitter.
Yeah. Right? Again, this is why I actually totally respect this platform because of that, sure. Right? And so what they're doing is they're trying to build a committee to, like,
I did see
house these guys. I'm like, no, guys, that's not how you do things, right?
Yeah.
But, that's the thing is they decided that in response to people getting pissed off because this girl was stabbed up, right, is to say that, no, we're going to double down on stop being racist, right?
Yeah, it seems to be going the wrong
you
direction.
Fucking idiots.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I did see that.
It's like these
and
people
I did
have
read
a
on the
legitimate
Stagmies a little
complaint.
bit. Yeah. It was like you actually got constituents here who are like very not happy with what's going on. So
But what's interesting is Ireland is still, it's like 95% white.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't get the impression that they got completely deep in like Scotland type stuff. But
No,
they were getting
UK.
there.
Yeah.
Well, UK is different, man. UK
It's
is
London and everywhere
it's
else.
London versus everywhere else, and everywhere else actually is the thing that matters. So yeah.
There's a lot of people that just say stay out of London and the place is fine. But,
yeah, exactly.
But that's tough because all the shit I want to see is
in London. I want to go see the Imperial Museum, please. So, but like the interesting thing is like how the rest of Europe is like even the Netherlands. I mean, so
yes,
they got the new guy in, but I mean, like everybody's like, oh my god, he's like totally right wing. But then you actually read his shit, it's like this guy would not get elected in New York as a liberal. It's like you guys are so off base.
Yeah. I know their Overton window is so fucking shoved, right? Well, and I get it. All right.
Well, yeah. I mean, just look at France, man. It's like we're gonna march 120,000 people through fucking Paris, who are gonna like wear blue and wave the Israeli flag. And no violence. Yeah, none.
They've had some, but not for this.
Well, those other 120,000 people will show up to that.
France is a very unique place,
bro. I've learned to appreciate France a little bit more over the last like 8 months or so. I mean, they have a very centrist president who's very good about like he's like a surfer. So yeah, he's totally a surfer. So, yeah, but like
absolutely,
yeah, and even that whole thing is like, oh, actually, no, we're gonna barf up all this money for Ukraine because Russia's bad and they're over there. They're pretty far over there, but they're still over there,
right?
So, let alone the Germans who are like, oh, wait a minute, oh fuck, oh, this is terrible. Yeah, no, let's shut this down. Let's bring in some Polish consultants here.
Mm-hmm. No, it's like they have a division in the government that is keep that over there, not here. Right. And so you consult that guy in the morning. It's like, all right, what do we have to do to keep that over there and not here?
Right,
Like,
yeah, the Department of Foreign Relations.
Yeah. Well, keeping far forward. Yeah, bottom line is, as long as this doesn't come to us, it's like, this is totally fine.
Yeah, it's totally
and
cool.
we're going to do what it takes to keep it that way. Yeah, dude, it's wacky. In France, I mean, this is the thing that I always forget about, right? Is France has a very long history, but they do have some traditions that are absolutely, like, rock solid. So, from my understanding, and I've asked people, again, I haven't a lot of, like, really traveled people, lived in different countries and stuff, but like, I ask them about France, it's like, tell me about the people. It's like, they're lazy. It's like, it's absolutely true. It's like, they're lazy, they're sponges, like, in many ways, especially like when you talk about like Paris, is like they're disrespectful. Right. They don't respect their own culture. They don't respect their own traditions. But they have this long-standing history of, this is like French Revolution shit. Is like,
Vive la France.
Yeah, if you cross the line, and if it's like, you can tell, like when you start crossing the line, it's like, man, I smell gas, right? It's just like, once you cross that line, the French people are just, it's like they're genetically born with the word liberté, like,
right,
from the tongue.
Yeah.
And they'll go fucking ape shit.
All the smoke alarms go off at the same time.
Yeah. And if you start getting close to that, they'll flip their shit, right? But
well, that seems to have happened. So, yeah.
Well, they're at the beginning stages. This is the part where you can cool it down. This is the part where you can say, like, it's the stove, man. It's like, do I turn the heat down or put a lid on it? Right? So when we go, like, so if we look at it back here and I said, like, look at the George Floyd situations here, we tried to turn the heat down, right?
It did not work.
Well, it did. It placated it, right?
Yeah.
But the problem here is that we had so many people that were determined. It's like, what do you turn the heat down for? It's like,
right.
Well,
yeah,
because this. And then you have these fucking accomplices that are like, actually, no, we need to stoke this up 10 times higher and make it everything.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The noodles will soften faster if you cook them harder. Yeah. Right,
yeah, and when you put
noodles in the pot are boiling.
And when you put the lid on it, right, that's when they're like, I can't believe, that we have so many orders for bean bags for shotguns, because the cops are just going through these like fucking crazy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that if you can avoid it.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, France, they have that sense of like, oh shit, is it on? Okay, then I guess it's on.
Oh yeah, we all marched today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
that's my understanding.
We're not quite there yet.
No, as much as
we might not get there. I don't know, man. I mean, if you look at like some of the cities in the U.S. that are really fucked up, they're getting theirs right now. So
man, Denver had his car stolen for the second time.
Exactly.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and it's kind of like, all right, all you rent control motherfuckers. So you're gonna bump up against like, all right, so it's due at the end of the month. What are you gonna do? So yeah.
Bro, this is the thing where it comes to like, is it impacting the mayor? These are things that. So one of the things that's fascinating to me about the LA riots, you remember this?
Oh yeah.
Is they said, when did the police clamp down on it?
When it threatened the mayor. Yeah.
It wasn't just the mayor.
Yeah.
It's basically when the riots had left the hood,
right,
and started getting into the nice areas,
right, yeah,
and at that point the cops swarmed in mass, and they couldn't let Koreans do all the rooftop shooting and do their job for them.
Yeah. See, that's the funny thing. Is like local politics matters so much more, but it's so much more corrupt.
Well, corruption per capita is higher at a local level, man.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh no, wait. That's where my bread is buttered. Fuck off. Yeah. So yeah.
Like, just imagine this for a second. Just imagine that, like, take District 11. If you found out that the superintendent was getting payola up the ass, right?
Oh,
it would seem like such a bigger scandal locally.
Correct.
Right? But on the national side, you were like, what?
Who's that guy? Is he registered? Yeah.
What does this matter to your little
Yeah.
hick town? And you're like, excuse me, sir, we're actually 41
Right.
population.
Yeah.
We're
Exactly.
bigger than Oklahoma City. We're actually bigger than Atlanta, right?
Well, they would care as long as like the chair was actually like debatable. So
What do you mean?
well, like so here, I mean, like our guy is Doug Lamborn, and he will be until he dies. You know, yeah. So I mean, it only pokes up above national politics once you actually threaten that seat. So,
okay. Yeah.
So, which is interesting. Actually, the House is really interesting right now. So they got a whole. Yeah, you've seen all that George Santos stuff the last couple days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so like Mike Johnson, who I like every single time that
Right.
he actually starts saying shit. So it's
He's
like
not super slick, but
he's not super. He's very direct though.
Yes.
Yes, and
Yes.
I really like that because he was like, "Well, actually, we're not going to actually do this because I'm uncomfortable, like ousting a guy who actually hasn't been charged in court." So, and I was like, "All right, so yeah, George
That's
Santos,
reasonable.
that guy's a piece of shit. I get that." All right, but you're actually holding the line on something here that's pretty reasonable. So thank you. Thanks for being the adult in the room, bro. I appreciate that.
What did I tell you? Republicans to go back to wearing suits.
He's totally a suit and tie kind of guy, man. He probably like laces his shoes every day.
Well, there are guys. Okay, yeah, he laces them, but I mean,
He doesn't wear loafers, man.
We're talking about a guy that yeah, he'll take the jacket off at home, but he's gonna stay, in the slacks until it's time for bed.
Well, yeah, he's gonna
Yeah.
eat dinner in his tie. He's just gonna
Yeah.
roll up his sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I kind of like him, man. So I'm pretty impressed lately.
Yeah, he just doesn't. I mean, that's the thing is the first off, anybody that actually releases the J6 footage is a hero in my book. Secondly,
Oh, he did a great job with that.
he
He did a
also
great job with that.
like with some of the other things that were like highlighting. It's like here's a list of 50 impeachments that we want right now. It's like, nah. There's the
Exactly.
He's like,
yeah.
I get you, and he's never a dick about it. He's just it's not like you guys are ridiculous. He's like, I get where you're coming from. It's
We
like,
got an election next fall.
well, he's also
Yeah,
like,
we'll do that next fall. Yeah,
but you got to bring me something solid,
correct.
right? He's very much like,
Yeah.
I don't think I can win this,
Yep.
right? And so that's something that I can
I
respect.
like
And he
him a
doesn't
lot, man.
come across as a lunatic, right? And that's
He's not a lunatic. So, and that's actually kind of better because he kind of came out of nowhere. So,
this is
Yeah.
to me like I'm always going to
like
point
Jim
to this.
Jordan is a lunatic. So,
There's a lot of lunatics, man. There's a lot of. I mean, the fact that the smart thing that I'm always happy that Matt Gaetz never.
Dude, everybody hates him now. He's like scared all the girls out of the party.
He sure has, man. He sure has. It's
Yeah.
it's weird. It's like you take this guy and he says things that are okay sometimes, then not, and then you just look at it as like so. God, you just an AI created you from like it's like what's your base? It's like Beavis's forehead, and
Oh, well.
it's like, God.
Vivek Ramashami.
Well, he's different. He is just
Dude, he's also in lunatic land, man. He came from space camp. So,
he did.
yeah.
He did.
So I don't know, man. I've been seeing some like really good polling lately, where like fucking RFK Jr. of anybody is actually poking holes in both the ships that are trying to make
Yeah.
it to port. So, and I don't know, man. I like the guy, but every time I hear him speak, like it's just there's a piece of him that's just like, hey, man. I know you did the reading, but you didn't actually do the write up.
There, I guess so. My big concern with him is
Well, he's not going to get on any ballots.
no.
So he and all three of them, him and Cornel West, is basically like
Yeah.
whatever. Now at this point in time, he's going to get on 2 fucking ballots, and then. I don't know, man. I don't know how close you watch lefty Twitter. I have a bunch of guys who I watch very closely on leftard Twitter.
So all right. So my left-hard Twitter,
all right. So tell me who's on your left-hard Twitter.
Bill Maher.
Okay, he's not that bad.
Well, here's the thing: he's a left-hard, right?
He is,
but he's a classical left-hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I do have people from the Young Turks. I do have, and again, it's not. That's to put the dipstick in. I'm not here being like I'm not sending smileys and hearts to these guys. It's just like I gotta see this. AOC is on my left-hard Twitter.
Okay.
Rob Reiner is on my left-hard Twitter.
Rob, did you see that he's actually going to do a new movie with the guys from fucking Spinal Tap?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that, man.
No, it's look, the thing I've long said, like I have no problem separating the artist from the art.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that's true.
There are people.
He's on left-hard Twitter.
He absolutely is.
Well, him and like fucking Stephen King.
Stephen King is insufferable, and a lot of times he gets kicked to me not by me watching him, but from other people, jumping in.
Fair.
But and that's the thing is the left-hard Twitter that I mostly follow is not the progressive by any means necessary.
Okay, so those are the guys that I watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it is more so the people that are like, hey, you know what? Small victory here. I want this. They wanted this. We got this. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's an angle that we can work from, right? And the same thing, like, it's kind of like Glenn Beck back in the day. I could tell a long time ago that this dude is like, you don't believe 1/10 of the shit you say, right?
It's all chalk and...
Exactly. Yeah, because you're doing that to corner a certain market. I get it.
Well, see, that's where I put Cenk Uygur. So...
yeah.
But he's not the leftist guy that I watch. So...
Who's the farthest left?
The farthest left is Max Blumenthal. So...
Oh, okay.
I watch him. I watch Aaron Mate. I watch...
okay.
Aaron Mate is... Yeah, they were way out there. I watch Norm Finkelstein. So, yep, he's way out there. Brianna Joy Gray, who I really like as a person.
Okay.
But she is way the fuck out there. She was actually like Bernie's like campaign director.
Yeah.
Back in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's gone way further left than he has. I like her as a person. I think she's great. So, but like she bird dogs fucking left-hards for me. So they show up on her podcast, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to listen to this guy. Okay. And it's like, oh my God, you're way out there. So, but like my problem is like I'm having trouble bird dogging right-tards now. So, who you got?
Bird dogging right-tards.
Yeah. So like I listen to Ben regularly, Shapiro.
Yeah, I mean, evidently you're on a first name basis with him. So
well, yeah, sure, yeah, no, and I agree with about 80% of the shit he says. I don't like his like libertarian bent, so because I think libertarianism is like a fucking like greenhouse flower that died many years ago. So
it's so okay. Libertarianism has its charm. There is something to...
It died in 2008.
Well, libertarian is like a sales pitch where depending on the day of the week and what I ate and what kind of mood I'm in, right?
How many donuts does it take?
How many donuts? Like, have I had a couple of drinks? Like, if somebody is pitching libertarianism to me under the right conditions, I can be like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then, you go sleep off a couple of beers, you wake up and you look at the paper again, and you're like, this can never work.
This is a terrible idea. Why did I bet that?
Exactly. It's one of those things that, like, you know what? I would love for this to be true.
Wait a minute, I didn't buy any gold yesterday, and that was still a good decision.
And then there's part of me is like, yeah, but to supplant that is like, let's take a currency like Bitcoin or something. It's like we do something like that. Blah 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 blah. And
we got to talk about raviolis someday. So
that shit's interesting.
It is very interesting. All the Altman shit and stuff that's going on.
Things I think are going to change, but
anyway, that's
the libertarian thing. So that's why there's one of you in Congress,
right?
Like, and that's where you belong.
So who are the right tards that I should be listening to?
Should be listening to,
or well, at least keep an eye on. So, Because Ben Shapiro, he's out there. He's a right-tard.
He is.
He is. I don't know, man. There's a few like things that pop up on my feed, like cat turd and stuff like that. And yeah.
Well, Catzer just doesn't have anything interesting to say. I mean, it's
I don't
like
think he's actually a real guy. So,
well, he's a real guy,
maybe.
you know, and he's crossed over with my feeds plenty of times. It's just
Sure.
like, I just don't think he has any real insight. Basically, he just pops in and makes a dad joke, and then pops
Exactly.
out.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
so there's nothing for me to take from this. The actual guys that I listen to, depending on how you want to take it, like Greenwald.
Maybe. Depending on where you want to go with him, man.
That's the thing is I do take that with a grain of salt. I'm like, yeah, you're going to speak about shit that impacts you personally.
Well, he does walk into that American Empire bullshit.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. But like you were saying with your Ben Shapiro 80-20, right?
Oh, okay.
You take the 20% as like, I can skip this one. There's a number.
Yeah.
Look, here's the weird thing is like half the guys I follow.
I wouldn't even put Greenwald on the right. So
See, I wouldn't traditionally put him on the right.
sure.
He's been put in the right.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
That's what
Well,
I'm
the
saying.
same thing with Jimmy Dore. So
Yeah, I agree.
I would put
Yeah.
him way on the left. He's totally a union shill on many things. He's a Bernie bro. Yeah.
he is.
So yeah.
He is.
But he's kind of like a planet that's like orbiting like no sun. So
Dude, he's just, and it's an irregular orbit. Yeah, it's not.
it's elliptical.
It's fucking as oblong as it gets.
It's an eight. Yeah, no. So like literally like pushing out on the right hand side. I mean, unless I get in a gun tube. So
but that has its risks. It really does.
well, I mean it's you're basically pocketing yourself on something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I don't know, man.
So I mean, yeah, it's tough. Like, let me see if there's anybody here that I can really recommend. Yeah, like again, like you could look at like Jack Pozzo and stuff like that, but he's such
Well,
a
I
goofball.
follow like Ann Coulter and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I cannot
Starbuck.
like tolerate Dinesh D'Souza.
No, he's
He's a shell.
a shill. There's
Yeah.
everything that everything about him screams disingenuous, and that's sort of, I don't know. He's cashing in on a specific market. He's got
Right, yeah.
an audience that believes these things, an audience that believes that by purchasing or buying into these things, they're helping a cause that I don't think you necessarily believe in. And
Correct.
that is
That's the definition of shill.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shill's different. Shill is people that
Bro, he knows where his bread is buttered.
but
So-
what companies does he shill for? That's the thing.
His own.
That's what I'm
So,
saying.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
And when people are shills, right? They're shilling for your company.
Okay, yeah. So he's not a CCP shill. So
No,
yeah,
no,
I get
no.
that.
So
But,
like, for example, what's a Disney shill?
a Disney shill?
Yeah.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Well, basically, okay. So
Oh my god, I'm gonna get sued for that.
I don't think so. Look,
Yeah.
I'm saying like so, especially like these pro bono fucking people that look at like every Disney mistake. It's the same people who are like, yes, but this was the highest opening for a black female director ever. It's like,
Oh god, let's
Right.
not get into this, bro.
right. But it's also the worst opening for any of these movies.
Dude, Drinker had such a great video out the other day. Did you see that?
Which one?
Oh, he was talking about like the entire collapse of the Eisner Empire.
Oh, I don't remember. I may have watched it, but I don't.
Yeah,
remember.
okay.
What did he say?
Basically what I said.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, it's gonna collapse in on itself, and he's gonna be able to retreat in his own shell and actually recreate the company, and nothing's gonna change. They're just gonna shed properties. So
Which is fine. That's
that it needs to happen, man. So like even today, I did a pop culture quiz with my students, and they are so sick of it. So it's just like, wait a minute, this is so 2015. It's like, All right, so you succeeded in making me feel old, but thank you.
Well,
So yeah,
I mean, look, it's a different environment. I mean, there are people like desperately. The market's not what it used to be, right? This is the thing.
it's not gonna be.
You
Yeah,
know, as we said, they sit there and talk about it in terms of like, but this made $1 billion. I'm like, yeah, so did this, and this, and this. In 1977, that would have just been Star Wars, right? This is
well, and that would have made your company at that point in time. Right now, it's just a line item.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
that also means that it is not a benchmark. It's not a hallmark. It's not a
correct.
cultural touchstone,
Yeah,
right? It's like so. I mean, this was the thing that I joked about here is look, I don't have anything against Taylor Swift, but I don't have anything for her either, right?
sure,
I've never liked one of her songs. I've heard a lot of them, right?
they're fine.
It's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's just there's nothing to it, right? So,
Right.
when people have been, they do this every few years. They deify Beyonce, they deify Rihanna, they deify,
Who does not deserve any of that?
no,
great.
they're actually, well, so I know a little bit about music, Patrick. And I
You
guess,
know a lot about
when it
music.
comes down to it, I like, so what do you like, guys? It's like, everybody that you like here is just a subpar soprano singer,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Like, if you go to your local opera, right, they'll demolish any one of these people. But you have to understand.
Maybe not Taylor Swift. So
No, they'd wreck her.
you think so?
Look.
I don't know, man. She's
There's-
got pretty good range. So
There's maybe 4 singers that I would look at and say, like, you have an actual vocal range and the control over it to make it interesting.
Taylor
Right.
Swift is not one of them.
She's not great,
Okay.
but Mariah Carey is,
Well, yeah. Okay. All right. So
right?
yeah.
Mariah Carey is. She has like more control over her voice than I've ever seen, and she's like 7 octaves, right?
Right.
But there's very few that I would put against like Sarah Brightman, who's a classical singer, and would destroy these people.
Right.
But it's
Okay.
like, but
All right. Fair.
it's the thing is like, okay, so you have it set to a common time beat, and you have a rapper that jumps in between the second and third verse, and then it goes to the exit. So I'm like, all right. For me, like when it comes to Taylor Swift, I'm like, okay, yes, I get that you like her, but at the same time, this is me. I'm like, can we move on? Can we go on to
Sure.
like hopefully the next megastar everyone has to talk about her singer has songs that I like or bigger boobs? Because I'm like, it's just like, I'm sorry, like you don't have either of the things that I would look for in a pop star, and the fact that it's crossed over into my football, Patrick, is
It has.
deplorable.
It has totally invaded football.
It disgusts me.
Hey man, it gets everybody not thinking about Bud Light.
There you go. There you go. All right. There you go. All right. There you go.
All right. So, well, did William make us a mint in Vegas?
I don't know.
Oh, he's not back yet.
Well, no, I haven't asked.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I save these things for when I see them in person. So, yeah,
all right. Well, is he gonna be here next time?
I hope so.
Yeah. All right.
It depends on if he has a work thing.
Yeah. Okay. If not, we'll have more Congress shit to talk about.
Always do.
Always.
Always. All right.
All right. I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
I'm hitting the button.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.